then why spill blood if not for the pleasure of it?
Because men do not fear swords. They fear monsters. Run from them. Sometimes the world no longer needs a hero. Sometimes what it needs is a monster.
Popping these pets on my coat. I'm out the room, move like I'm Batman. Damn, what? Smart as a madman.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Patrick, episode 3 of the prep series. I'm gonna need y'all help because we need a better title for this series. I don't know, road to show, it sounds kind of basic, kind of used up, dried up, not really fancying that. Just doing prep series episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. It's kind of boring. So drop in the comments what this series should be called because I'm stumped on names. Armand, you got any? You got any names, Armand? I don't know. Yeah, so today's session is going to be legs. This session is already like 2 hours, plus we're recording today, so it's probably gonna be 4 hour workout today, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try to move quickly, talk in between sets where I'm resting, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then just kind of power through my warm up so we can get to working weight quickly. But leg day, quad focus. This is pretty much the only full leg day I have in the training split, and then we have, a density day, which is just back and hamstrings and a little bit of other stuff. So this is really the only day that we hit the quads. If we're only hitting quads once a week, you have to make sure you do it right. So we gotta lock in, we gotta hit the intensity, foot on the gas, take progressions everywhere. I don't care that I'm 4 weeks into prep. I don't care I'm on less calories. Push, push, push. And you guys are gonna see that today. Without more talking, let's go. That's bad, my neck's destroyed. I slept funny, so I have like a crick in my neck when I do that. But I did one set and now ooh, now both sides, front, back, left, right, up, down, oh no. That's not good.
They just want a piece of mind. I've been focused on the future, never on right now. But I'm sipping that kombucha, either pink or brown. I'm the one that introduced you to.
Something I see people do a ton, which makes no sense on the seated hamstring curl, is when they do that whole break at the hip thing, to stretch the hamstring more. It's a good idea, I use it, but it is absolutely useless if you do not go all the way up and fully straighten your leg, fully getting a stretch on the hamstring. I see people break at the hips, lean forward, but then they're cutting their range of motion short from their leg being fully straight. If you're keeping a knee in your bend, you're reducing the range of motion. So if you're increasing the range of motion by breaking at the hip, but you're keeping a bend in your knee, completely useless. So if you're gonna break at the hip and you're gonna train your hamstring in that stretch, lengthened position, make sure you're fully extending at the top and you're getting your leg fully straight every single rep to really maximize the stretch, which is what you're trying to do anyway. The first quad exercise for today is quad extensions. Now we have 3 working sets here. And before you comment, but Patrick, we can't do more than 2 working sets or else you're overtraining and it's redundant. So before you comment that, listen, I have 3 working sets for quad extensions because my first working set is gonna be focused in the shortened position, holding it for a second at the top, fully squeezing and fully actually training that rec fem and training my quad in that shortened position. My next 2 sets, I'm gonna slide the seat all the way back and I'm actually gonna train more of a lengthened focus, still trying to get it fully short, but I may not be able to just because of how heavy I'm going. The goal is still gonna be obviously full lockout and full shortening of my quad, but how heavy I'm going and my ability to push myself, I like to hang out more in that stretch position and actually get those partial reps at the bottom. So not every single rep is gonna be a full lockout, full shortened position. And since I only have quads once a week, I can't do the shortened version on one day, the lengthened version on the other day. So I do 1 set shortened version, 2 set lengthened version, which is why I need 3 working sets for quad extensions on my leg day. So when you watch my quad extension, it might look weird. It might look like I'm laying down or leaning back a ton. and that's because I am. Now the purpose for this is to actually lengthen and get a proper stimulus to my rectus femoris, which is that little quad muscle that's in between the teardrop of your quad and the outer part of your quad. And the reason why I'm performing the quad extension this way to actually train that is because the way that you lengthen or stretch the rec fem is by having a stretched hip position or a leaning back position. Now think about when you do a quad extension, a leg press, a squat, a hack squat. You have to be leaning forward if you're having any type of weight on your back in a flexed hip position. So if you're having a flexed forward hip position for every single one of your quad exercises, when is that rectus femoris getting trained? And the answer is probably never. So to add some variety into my training and actually train that muscle accordingly and train it in a lengthened position, I do perform 2 sets of quad extensions this way. So how to know if you should start your leg days with a compound lift, squat, pendulum, hack squat, barbell back squat, or with your accessories, quad extensions, hamstring curls, adductors, calf raise. In my opinion, it's definitely gonna vary based on your experience level. I feel like when you're a beginner, it's better to start your workout with those compound lifts and focus on progressing those over time, because the real challenge for you in the beginning is gonna be pushing yourself hard on legs. Most people are stuck at training legs, 5 to 15 reps in reserve and not even sniffing anywhere near failure. So your priority, if that's you, should be to push yourself harder. But if you are a more experienced lifter, I feel like it is probably better for you to start with your quad extensions, hamstring curls, and other isolation movements before your quad compound. And there's 2 main reasons for that. The first one is loading. If I can squat 4.5 plates on the pendulum or 7 plates on hack squat for reps, there isn't a big runway for progression for me on those lifts, especially if I start them fresh first in my workout. If your goal is muscle hypertrophy, there's no benefit to you for hack squatting 10, 11, 12 plates when you could place that hack squat at the end of your workout and get 6 or 7 plates. The other main reason is if you have the ability to push yourself hard and to failure on your quad compounds, the amount of effort and fatigue that is gonna hit you with is greatly gonna impact the quality of work that you can achieve after you do that quad compound, which is why it would make sense to start with those isolation movements and work your quad compound later in the workout and not have that fatigue affect many other exercises. Just feeling the stretch on my quads after those quad extensions. Oh, it hurts right now. Even though we're in prep, we're still chasing 5-plate pendulum. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but we're gonna chase it for sure. But this one's gonna hurt. 4.5. See how many we can get. This one's gonna hurt for So after a pendulum, we move on to belt squat now. It's not something I've had in my routine for a while. I've added it in when I started prep, so 4 weeks ago. And it's never really an exercise I got too into during my growing phase, not a tool that I utilized. But with prep and with trying to manage fatigue as best as I can, because I'm gonna be in a deficit for a long period of time, that deficit is going to get aggressive because I only do have 18 weeks left before my show, and I have a good bit of fat that needs to come off. Managing fatigue is something that's top of mind. So instead of having a leg press in, where once again I gotta go heavy, I'm at the point where I gotta do 6.5, 7 plates. That's gonna be loaded on my back as well as having my pendulum squat in the same workout, as well as having a pull from the floor, my SLDL. All these thoughts kind of bouncing around my head. Makes sense to have another compound, if you want to call it, because getting quad, getting glute, getting ankle, getting calf, but not necessarily having the weight on my shoulders loading my back, because you have the belt going around that lower back to hip area and not really putting like any stress or any tension on there. It takes a couple weeks to get used to it, but now that I don't feel any load on my back whatsoever, and I can really kind of just focus on the quads while getting a quad compound, which is very unique to this exercise and any other quad compound you do, hack, barbell, pendulum, leg press, is all going to be loading that lower back area and, you know, creating a high degree of fatigue. So this is why belt squat has made its way into my routine. So far, just after a couple weeks of doing it, I like it so far. Seems that we're progressing nicely on it, so I will stay in for the foreseeable future.
I do whatever I want. Yeah, I don't be getting no fucks. So, I don't know what kind of, I don't be getting no fuck. I say whatever I want. I do whatever I want. I cut it up, move it for fun. It don't pop and you purchase for fun. I don't have to got it done. Come on, my.
Ow, I'm on. That was fun. It's hard because it's easy to cheat. When you got your hands there, easy to push yourself up. So you really got to stay disciplined. And one thing I find too for me, especially on leg stuff, since when I did first start lifting, I was like a power builder. I honestly think that for me, it's a lot more productive to really nail in like those lower rep ranges on leg stuff. Because for me, I feel like once I go up into like higher rep ranges, it's kind of like across the board, but especially for legs, I notice it a lot, is I'll start rushing those earlier reps because I'll be like rushing to get to the hard stuff. Like if I'm trying to do a 12 or 15 rep set, first like 2 or 3, obviously those reps can't be that hard if your rep range is 12 to 15. So I feel like I'll rush those first like 4, 5, or 6 reps, and I won't really be like fully locked in with my technique because I will be rushing to get to those, you know, really hard 4 or 5 last reps at the end of the set. So I feel like for me, when I always just stick to lower rep ranges, I can really just lock in for that 5, 6, 7 reps and really make sure my technique is in there. But the only downside to that is you have to be locked in from the get-go because you don't have 2 or 3 reps in the beginning to like just feel it out, you know, and like start working and then you get locked in and then it's really hard. You have to be locked in and pushing yourself from the first rep. Yo, one thing I noticed though, we gotta get better at titling in our mom. We gotta do more clickbaity titles. These edits are too good to get 300 views, you know? And every time I post it on my IG story, my fucking story gets destroyed with views, gets shadow banned hard. Like I can't even fucking promote it to people. So the only way is clickbait titles, unfortunately. But like clickbait on brand, you know? Like not crazy. That one video that we made, the first ever video we made, got like 3,000 views off the Explore page. And the quality was so shit, the edits were so trash, and somehow that's the video that went insane. Like if one of our videos now hit the algorithm the way that one hit, it would probably get minimum 20K, minimum. Just because of how insane the videos are. But like the fact that the most trash video hit the Explore and it just capped out at like 3K, it's just wow. It just lets you know it's possible, so you just gotta stop crying and just keep doing what you gotta do. It's 2024. Somebody told me you still don't know how to train calves, which is just insane. But I don't really blame you because calves are actually a special muscle group. And I know that people say there's no special muscle groups, but calves is actually the only one. And the reason why they're special is because opposite to every other muscle group in your body, there is no tension on your actual calves in the fully contracted shortened position. The only tension in your calves when you're doing a calf raise is on the eccentric and then fully lengthened or fully stretched at the bottom of your movement. So it's probably why you've been getting stronger on your calves and you've been holding it 2 to 3 seconds at the top, but your calves are still not growing. So a switch you should make to actually start growing your calves is 3-second eccentrics and then a 3-second hold at the fully lengthened or stretched position before you explode up and you come into flexion. Once you do that, your calves will be destroyed the next day, but after you do that over time, your calves raise. It's so funny to me. People are like, yo, why would anyone ever listen to your advice? They're not even big. I'm like, bro, you don't know that I stack the heaviest machine in the gym? Look at that shit. 2 plates on top of the stack into the heaviest machine in the gym. Find anybody in your gym that can do that. Promise you, they can't. You won't be able to find anybody, I promise you. I don't see anybody stacking this with 2 plates like I do. Tell me I'm not big. Like the hate's gonna be crazy, but it's like, is there a way that I should like somehow, when it's a legit tip video, like put something in the caption, and then when it's a satire video, put something in the caption? Yeah. But then that takes away from the joke, because then it's like I'm saying it's a joke, and then A joke is not funny if you say it's a joke, obviously. But there's so many slow people, like everybody's gonna fall for it, I already know. Why do I smell donuts? So we wrap up the leg day with abs. Only abs once a week right now. As I get deeper, I'm gonna probably add a second ab day and a third ab day out of the 5 days of training. I don't really know, like a lot of people on prep like to do abs every day. I still think that they need recovery. We'll see how the prep goes, but right now it's in once a week. In the off season, it was twice a week. Right now it's down to 1, and then it'll probably be up to 2 and then 3 in the next 4 to 8 weeks, just to get a little bit more ab training. But this rope cable crunch connecting insanely well with the weight. I'm actually progressing on it. Like I'm almost at the stack for good quality reps. And then obviously focusing on that actual spinal flexion to train the abs.
Dropping my rollie, dropping my body. This an AP and a hat automatic. Dipping that white in the kitchen, I'm savvy. Whipping it slowly, the whip it no faster. I got the swag on fashionable bastard. Rock on my jean, they tight like a Mick Jagger. You think you fly, but your swagger track max. They want my sauce because I'm a chick mad.
Leg day, pretty good. I feel like now is going to be the starting point of where I just start looking flat. My weight has been dropping pretty substantially, and it's just been on a nice downward trend. So pretty much almost every morning now I'm waking up lower, setting like a new lowest body weight. So hopefully that continues. I feel like now I'm at that point where I've shedded that first little bit of fat, and now as I continue to drop calories and continue to eat in this deficit, I'm probably going to end up looking worse before I end up looking better, because, you know, I'm just going to be depleting a lot of muscle glycogen from everywhere. So I'm kind of mentally preparing for that, just going to try to keep my performance as high as I can and not worry too much about, you know, the look of things on a week-to-week basis, just because that's just part of the game, and like part of it is getting in your own head. But one thing I want to say before I go, and I've realized it more in prep, it's something that I've always kind of thought about, and it's always been like a thought in my head when I think about like trying to do anything like worthwhile. When you're trying to do something that most people can't do or most people won't do because, you know, it's challenging yourself mentally, physically, whatever it is, there's always kind of that breaking point where you're right on the edge, and there's like that 1 second, split second decision that you have to make, where at that time your brain and your body is kind of telling you to do what's easy, to do what's comfortable, to do the thing that you like want to do, which is going to be easy. And like an example is when I'm like hungry at home and I'm just thinking like, wow, a McDonald's Big Mac would hit, or like a Junior Chicken would hit, or a slice of pizza would hit right now. It's just my brain telling me that. And it's like that split second decision. Don't eat that food. Eat, you know, your chicken and rice meal, eat your beef and rice meal, or, you know, drink your protein shake and go to bed. That split second is so hard to do in the moment. But once you get off that edge, once you do that thing, that kind of craving goes away, or that kind of feeling where you don't want to do it so bad goes away. Like another example is you wake up in the morning and it's like cold out, and it's like that split second, like everything in your brain is saying, man, just snooze the alarm, stay under the covers, it's warm, just go back to bed. But that split second of you ripping off the covers and like standing up and going to the washroom and washing your face, the second you do that, you're kind of like over it. Like, I don't even want to go back to bed, I'm not even tired anymore. Like the second you can get over that little hurdle is like the complete opposite side of like worthwhile of doing anything. That's a fat yap. I hope it made sense. If you've like done anything worthwhile, you kind of get what I mean. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you're liking it, leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes, and I'll catch you in the next one.